The year 2025 brought a startling announcement that sounds like science fiction. Dallas-based Colossal Biosciences proclaimed they had successfully de-extincted the dire wolf. 3 pups were born, 2 in October 2024 and 1 in January 2025. The company called it the world's first successfully de-extincted animal. But this claim has sparked intense debate among scientists. Some celebrate a breakthrough. Others question whether these animals are truly dire wolves at all. Let's dig into this fascinating controversy and separate fact from fiction. What were dire wolves? Dire wolves weren't just fictional beasts from Game of Thrones. They were real predators that roamed North and South America. They lived during the Pleistocene and early Holocene epochs. This period spanned from about 250,000 to 10,000 years ago. Dire wolves could grow up to 6 feet in length. Their powerful jaws were adapted to hunt large prey like mastodons and bison. Scientists first described dire wolves in the 1850s. Their fossils have been discovered throughout the Americas. The most famous finds come from the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles. These impressive hunters went extinct around 12,500 years ago. Their disappearance likely coincided with the loss of their megafauna prey. For decades, scientists believed dire wolves were close relatives of modern gray wolves. The 2 species looked remarkably similar, but DNA research in 2021 revealed a surprise. Dire wolves actually belonged to a much older evolutionary lineage. They split from the ancestors of gray wolves nearly 5.7 million years ago. Their similar appearance was a case of convergent evolution. 2 unrelated species evolved similar traits because they led similar lifestyles. Colossal's claim: creating dire wolves. Colossal Biosciences approached the challenge with cutting-edge genetics. Their team extracted DNA from ancient dire wolf remains. They used a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 72,000-year-old skull. These samples provided more complete genetic data than previous studies. The company claims this analysis showed dire wolves and gray wolves share 99.5% of their DNA. Using this genetic blueprint, Colossal's scientists employed CRISPR technology. They made 20 unique precision edits to a gray wolf genome. 15 of these edits introduced ancient gene variants. These variants hadn't existed for over 12,000 years. The edited genes influenced traits like size, muscle structure, coat color, and fur texture. The result? 3 pups that Colossal claims expressed dire wolf genes. 2 male pups were born on October 4th, 2024. A female followed on January 5th, 2025. 2 of the pups were named Romulus and Remus. These names reference the mythological twin brothers raised by a wolf. The scientific debate. Are these really dire wolves? The scientific community remains divided on Colossal's achievement. Colossal's chief science officer believes they've brought back the dire wolf phenotype. To me, it qualifies as a dire wolf, she stated. But many scientists disagree with this characterization. Critics argue these animals aren't true dire wolves. They describe them as genetically modified gray wolves with some dire wolf-like traits. A paleoecologist put it bluntly, "This is a designer dog. This is a genetically modified gray wolf." The debate centers on what constitutes a species. If dire wolves diverged from gray wolves nearly 6 million years ago, can 20 genetic edits bridge that evolutionary gap? An advisor to Colossal acknowledges this philosophical question. There's no secret that the genome is 99.9% gray wolf, he noted. There will be debates within the scientific community regarding how many genes must be altered to classify as a dire wolf. The technology behind de-extinction Colossal's work represents a significant advance in genetic engineering. The company used a multi-pronged approach. First, they reconstructed the dire wolf genome from ancient DNA. This was challenging because fossil DNA is typically fragmented and contaminated. Next, they identified key genetic differences between dire wolves and other canids. These differences explained unique dire wolf characteristics. For example, they discovered dire wolves likely had white coats, something impossible to determine from fossils alone. Using CRISPR-Cas9 technology, they then edited specific dire wolf variants into gray wolf cells. The edited cells were used to create embryos. These embryos were implanted into surrogate mothers. The process builds on genetic techniques Colossal previously used to create a woolly mouse, a mouse with mammoth-like traits, ethical questions, and conservation implications. The announcement raises profound ethical questions. Is this truly de-extinction or something else entirely? Some philosophers argue these animals are artificial creations rather than resurrected species. They question whether such projects distract from more urgent conservation needs. An environmental philosophy professor noted that Colossal seems to address animal welfare concerns, but he expressed skepticism about the ecological role these animals might play. It is difficult to envision dire wolves being released and assuming an ecological function, he remarked. Colossal argues their work has direct conservation applications. During the Dire Wolf Project, they developed a less invasive cloning method. This technique uses blood instead of tissue cultures. The company has already applied this method to clone endangered red wolves. This demonstrates a link between de-extinction research and conservation technology. The future of de-extinction. Colossal Biosciences has ambitious plans beyond dire wolves. They're working on reviving the woolly mammoth by 2028. They're also pursuing projects involving the dodo bird and Tasmanian tiger. Each project uses similar genetic technologies. The dire wolf announcement represents a milestone in this emerging field. Whether or not these animals are true dire wolves, they demonstrate what's now possible with genetic engineering. Future projects may bring us closer to authentic de-extinction. Critics worry about the implications. Will focus shift away from protecting endangered species? Might we become complacent about extinction if we believe we can reverse it? The Dire Wolf Project cost significant resources. Those funds might have supported traditional conservation efforts instead. So, did scientists actually de-extinct the dire wolf? The answer depends on how we define de-extinction and dire wolf. Colossal created animals with some dire wolf genetic traits. These animals likely resemble dire wolves in certain ways, but they remain primarily gray wolves with edited genomes. True de-extinction would require recreating an organism genetically identical to the extinct species. Current technology doesn't allow this for animals extinct for thousands of years. DNA degrades over time. Complete genomes cannot be recovered from ancient specimens. What Colossal achieved is a hybrid approach. They created gray wolves carrying some dire wolf genetic variants. These animals represent a scientific leap forward. They demonstrate how genetic engineering can resurrect lost traits. But calling them de-extincted dire wolves stretches scientific accuracy. The dire wolf isn't truly back. But science has taken another step toward understanding what might be possible in our technological future. That itself is both thrilling and concerning. The debate continues, as does the research, and the boundaries between extinction and existence grow increasingly complex.